I'm feeling a certain type of way about Britney Spears this week, and I need to get it off my chest. I'm at the gym, flex, and one news station had all of Britney Spears' Instagram pictures up. You know the pictures. The station was literally trying to shame her. Didn't news do this for like 6 years before she was busting through car windows with umbrellas? Didn't we just have the Free Britney movement so she could be let out of this family jail she was in? What's up with the obsession to ruin this woman's life? I know that part of American culture is to roast and to make fun of each other and dish on a little scandal or celebrity breakup, but I don't know, this feels different to me. Why is it news that she posts naked pictures of herself with the little flower emojis over her tits? Why are you dragging her on this? Have you been outside lately? The sun has reinvented themselves after a breakup, and now it's all of our problem. We are roasting on this planet, and this is making it into the history archives? You want to slut shame Britney Spears because she doesn't give a fuck if she posts the same picture with 3 different filters? You'd rather slut shame Britney Spears because she doesn't give a fuck if she posts the same picture with 3 different filters, when you should be creating an award to give her for making, multiple songs that still stand the test of time, and I'm specifically talking about You Drive Me Crazy, the Stop remix. There are people choosing between getting gas or having dinner in our country right now. And this is the news? Who decides that this is news? Some scumbag cheat who looks down to see if his 2-inch nub is in the same place he left it, sitting nicely on top of his balls, just waiting for some lucky gal to open wide only for his little shrimp dick not to make it past the back of her teeth. Did he decide that this was news? Or was it a disgruntled millennial Christina Aguilera fan? This week, a video of Britney Spears yelling at her 15 and 16-year-old sons was leaked by Kevin Federline. And you know what demographic didn't have a lot to say about the leaked video? Parents of 15 and 16-year-olds. Also, former parents of 15 and 16-year-olds were pretty quiet. Some future parents of 15 and 16-year-olds were spotted almost saying something about the pop princess's actions and then quickly bit their tongues. Let this woman post how she wants to post. Let this woman live how she wants to live. And for God's sake, leave Britney alone. Again.
Time for
Duh. Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello. Did you have a good week? I sure hope so. If it wasn't a good week, then the good news is every day you wake up can be a new week. Have you ever considered that? Why automatically fall in line with weeks starting on Monday and ending on a Sunday? Make your own week. A very big shout out to you, D. If you're a tried and true member of the Party God Squad, you know this is my aunt, who I go on many a life adventure with. So happy birthday, D. Let's go on more adventures. Mwah. My friend and I were at a nice hotel this week, and because the hotel was a little more antique shopper clientele vibes, the pool area was a little quiet. There was a guy who was on one side of the pool away from where we were and away from his wife and son who were swimming nicely, and this man was having a cigarette. He was so far away from all of us that you'd have to be Scooby-Dooby-Doo to sniff out this bogue if you weren't looking right at him. Here comes this woman. She's part of an older couple doing her laps, getting those vacation laps in, and she swims right next to Mr. Marlborough at the corner outside the pool where he's sitting by himself. All of this pool in front of her, and she laps right by him and turns around practically choking on pool water, so excited to rush back to her husband and complain. You cannot even breathe over there, honey. He's clouding up the whole pool with his smoke. Her husband went off. You don't own the pool, Margot. Come on, you don't own the pool. Let the man have a cigarette to himself without it ruining the pool experience for you, Margot. Come on, Margot. He's tired of Margot's bullshit. 'Cause he remembers when Margot used to hang out the top of his drop with her titties out and Quiet Riot blasting while they chain-smoked Pall Malls. They're not gonna take it. So give it a rest, Margot. Margot eventually shut the fuck up about the single cigarette 400 yards away from the complaint department bullhorn she calls a mouth, and the two of them went on their way. Probably back to their hotel room where she's gonna make her husband role play the smoking friend by the pool, which I think is hot, by the way. Go off, Margot. Go off. After they left, there were only 3 people at the pool with us. One guy as far away as possible on the phone, a woman about my age who was living in a music video ballad in the 90s by the way she was behaving, and you get it. And then this young pool attendant. Pool attendant comes over to us and very nicely says, I'm sorry, I should have told you this earlier. We can't be able to hear your music audibly. I get it. We weren't blasting it, but it was on. It's just a bummer because some things we're forced to listen to in the wild are way worse than loud music. For example, I overheard this guy say to his wedding date on the train, this is 100% true, why did the chicken cross the road? Why? Because the chicken was a little bitch. Then he laughed at his own joke, which I will not give him the courtesy of reenacting his laugh of his joke. Because the chicken was a little bitch. Perhaps she's into that. But if she isn't and she's listening, I know the beach house is nice and the doorman is a perk. But don't force yourself into a lifetime of bad chicken crossing the road jokes. That wasn't even funny or cute. There are so many funny, cute ways he could have finished that. Why'd the chicken cross the road? Excellent question. Lay it on me. Why'd the chicken cross the road? She was doing the balk of shame. Why did the chicken cross the road? 'Cause her dumb, waspy boyfriend told a dumb fucking joke, and since she can't fly with her wings, I guess she walked. I was at the liquor store buying a bottle of rosé to split with my grandmother, and I paid with cash. The cashier said to me in this voice, "Do you want your 3 pennies back?" I was so jarred by the question that it took me a second to answer it. No, I guess it's fine. But everybody, it wasn't fine. I let her make me feel like a penny-pinching coin goblin that couldn't accept my own change. Yeah, I want the pennies, is what I should have said. 'Cause I want the pennies. Sure, maybe they're worthless to you, but I need pennies to throw at bro zombies crossing the road during the apocalypse, so give me my change. Please. That brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts, my most stoned thoughts of the week. Number 1, unless you can physically prove it with a guessing game where the person gets, I'm gonna say 50 guesses correct in a row, no one is a mind reader. We cannot read each other's minds. Okay? Okay. Number 2, when 50 Cent said, if you'll be a nympho, I'll be a nympho, I think that may have been more romantic than when Noah said, if you're a bird, I'm a bird. Because we can't physically become birds for our partners. It's not possible. You can make the effort to match your partner's sex drive, however. Number 3, it makes no sense to tell someone to quiet down when they're laughing. It's involuntary and almost impossible to stop yourself. It's like telling someone midstream to close the dam. Number 4, until there's a hoagie way or gyro way, I think Subway won this round. And number 5, dogs don't know who's famous. My guest this week is songwriter, musician, rapper, and all-around incredible storyteller, my longtime friend, Mr. Ronvé O'Daniel. His wild word was Cuba, so say Havana, ooh yes, yes, and strap in for this epic 2-part vacation story. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow me at Wild Nights with Rocky on TikTok and Instagram, at Wild Nights Pod on Twitter. If you want to watch extended interviews with all of my guests, please subscribe on YouTube. And if you want to support this show with your pennies, hop on over to Patreon, where you can become a supporter for $2 or $5 a month. A big thank you to everyone who's written a review on Apple Podcasts, and a future thank you to everyone who's going to write one after this episode is over. It really does make a difference. And now, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with Ronvé O'Daniel. Ronvé, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm really excited. My voice got really high and squeaky because Party God Squad, Ronvé and I have been friends for over 10 years now. August will be 10 years.
Yeah.
We opened up. I know. I'm gonna spill the tea, Ronvé. I'm gonna spill it.
Tea.
Ronvé and I opened the Times Square restaurant, Guy's American Kitchen and Bar, together. We were part of the original staff.
There's a lot of donkey sauce.
Do you remember what's in donkey sauce?
No, I don't remember what's in it. I remember why it's called donkey sauce, though. Do you remember why it's called donkey sauce?
Because you're a jackass if you don't like it.
Bingo.
You're a jackass. I think it was Worcestershire mayo, mustard, garlic, salt, pepper.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. It actually looked like a garlic aioli.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
Except the name.
I will tell you this much. I didn't know that before 11 a.m. today I would be talking about donkey sauce, but I should have assumed.
Right.
That place was wild, Ronvé.
Yeah. It felt like it felt like a bid. It felt like I was doing jail time.
Yes.
I remember when I transferred, so I ended up transferring to the Empire location. And I remember, I guess it was my last shift there, and actually seeing you, you were there. It was you and maybe Kyle Carter. And,
love Kyle.
Yeah. But you were almost in tears because, I think you were happy, but it was more don't leave.
Yeah, no. Oh my God. Yeah, you were one of my core friends there. I was not happy. I was happy to see you get out of there, but it was ooh, I still got 3 more years.
Man, yeah. That spot, man. It was an experience.
It was definitely an experience.
Yeah. Peter Wells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's triggering, right?
Yes. But people, so Peter Wells, what Ronvé is referring to is he is a writer for the New York Times, and he was the one who wrote the scathing interview about Guy's American Kitchen and Bar within the first month of us working there. And the results were catastrophic in a weird way.
It's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, the line, I remember showing up for my night shift, and the line was down the street to get in. And people were just there to have a bad experience, which is the most American thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, exactly. I remember one shift walking up to a table and just, doing my spiel. And it was a 4-top, and you could see somebody with their phone filming me, wanting to get the scoop. And it was no. What's not gonna happen.
No consent.
Is no consent, no viral shit happening today.
Not today. Not on Ronvé's watch. You know where this would never happen?
Where?
Cuba. In Cuba. So Ronvé's wild word was Cuba, where they do not have a Guy's American Kitchen and Bar. So Ronvé, take us away with your wild night story, Cuba.
You know what? They could have had, they should have had one.
And that's a fact.
Yeah. Have you been to Cuba?
No, not yet.
Okay. So my wife and I went. My wife's name is Sally Ann. You met her, right?
Yes, many times.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. So we went in 2017, and it was one of those I actually saved up to do it, but at the time a lot of people were were going. Like actually Carl
Mm-hmm.
from Heartland,
Mm-hmm.
he went and he was telling me about it, and he actually put me in touch with people or whatever, or people to get in touch with.
Yeah.
So going to Cuba, you sort of learn a few things. You can't drink the water.
Wow.
There's also not is we couldn't take hot showers, so it was a lot of cold showers. There's also a shortage of toilet tissue.
Ooh.
It's sort of like America in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shortage of toilet tissue, so you actually have to pay for toilet tissue in
Wow.
public space.
Do you have to
So
pay for the bathroom too?
no,
Okay.
no, I mean, you may as well. It's like
One and the same.
one and the same.
Yeah.
Um, unless unless you don't have to use it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so you have it's ranges anywhere from like 25 cents to 50 cents.
Gotcha.
So we're there, and we sort of fall in love. We fall in love with the place. Like we're seeing all like the vintage cars, and the people are really nice. They're really, really pleasant to American tourists because we bring in a lot of money. So
Gotcha.
so they were really pleasant with us. So we ended up going to Vinales, which is like the countryside. So we rent a taxi, someone who Carl actually put me in touch with.
Okay.
We rent a taxi, and we go out there for the day. It's a 3-hour drive, and the taxi is one of those old vintage cars.
Okay.
So 3-hour drive. So on the way, and our taxi driver is a super pleasant guy.
Mm-hmm.
On the way, you see street vendors on the side of the highway selling goods. So imagine like riding like the West Side Highway, and like at the 155 exit, there's like a fruit stand, like
fruits and things like that.
Yeah, and it might not even be like a whole fruit stand. It might just be somebody selling avocados.
Yeah. Costa Rica is a bit like that too. Parts of Costa Rica. Yeah.
Yeah. So our taxi driver, he asked us, because Sally and I are riding in the back. He asked us, "Hey, I told my wife I was going to town. Do you mind if I stop and grab some cheese from this vendor?" And we were like, "Yeah, cool.
Do your thing."
So yeah, do your thing. So he pulls over, he gets the cheese, he's like trying it, good, all of that. And we're in the back seat like, oh, this is kind of dope. Okay, cool. So we get back on the road, and as he's driving, he's eating the cheese, and he's like loving the cheese. Like he's just like, so good. And he offers us some. And my wife, being the brains of our operation, being the smart one, she's like, "Nah, I'm good." And me, I'm like, I gotta have this cheese. I gotta see what the big deal is about.
Right.
I tried the cheese, Rocky. When I tell you it was the best cheese I've ever had.
Really?
When I tell you it was the best cheese.
Wow.
I can't describe it. Like I would never like think of cheese as something that delicious and delectable, and just it's just one of those things where it was like I get why he was just popping those things like candy.
Never in your life up until 2017 had you had better cheese? Really?
Had not had cheese like that in my life.
What was it like? Was it like a cheddar, a Parmesan, Gouda?
It was like a Gouda. It was like a block of Gouda.
Okay.
Maybe like that big.
Okay.
And it came on like a little dish, but it broke off.
Okay.
So it was like almost like dried Gouda.
Like feta almost?
Yeah, I feel like feta is a little bit on the creamy side.
Softer, okay.
Yeah, whereas this one, it was soft, but not as soft as say like a feta.
Okay.
Even like a goat cheese, but this was like it broke off.
Delicious, yeah.
And it was kind of crumbly.
Got it.
So good. So I have a couple pieces. Like it was good. So so we keep driving, and we finally get to Vinales, and it's beautiful. People like on horseback. I see like these. It's the first place where I see avocados, like the giant avocados.
Oh, okay, big guys.
The big guys, like it's literally as big as my head. We go to the spot and we get our homemade cigars, or hand rolled cigars.
Nice.
I get on video, dope. So so we leave there, and then we go to another little scenic spot. And so we get there, and then my stomach mumbles. Then it rumbles. Then it goes bloop bloop. And when your stomach goes bloop bloop, that's like your 2-minute warning.
Yeah. Like, it's a wrap.
You got to find a toilet. Pretty soon, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
And within those 2 minutes, I was at a code red, and I gotta go because I'm about to poop like
it's over.
Like a newborn.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to poop myself.
Yeah. This cheese is different.
This cheese is different. I run to the bathroom, and it's like, you know, nothing's flushed. Flies are everywhere. Smells like New York City in the 80s. Like, and then, of course, there's no toilet tissue.
Yeah, because you didn't bring it.
I did.
The cab driver's so nice, but he didn't warn you.
So it was literally like that scene in Dumb and Dumber where Jeff Daniels
runs in
the X-Lax. And so Sally had to buy me the toilet tissue. And I was on that toilet for like a strong hour. like a strong hour.
From just a couple pieces?
Just a couple of pieces, because it was unpasteurized cheese.
Oh, so I've heard that saying, and I know like that's one of the reasons pregnant women have to check different cheeses and stuff. But what does that mean, in case anybody's out there like me that they don't know what unpasteurized means? So
in America, it's actually why like most of our food in America is like banned in other countries, because it's so processed.
Gotcha.
And meat and dairy, they're the same thing, where our cheese goes through so many it goes through a process. It's processed to a certain degree. Some of which is good. Yeah. As opposed to getting it straight from the cow. It's like getting milk straight from the cow, as
no middleman.
No middleman. No, because even with milk, it goes through the process, whatever. I know nothing about it, by the way, but
you didn't know you'd be teaching a lesson in cheese and pasteurization this morning, Ronvé?
And sure enough, there'll be somebody in the comments who knows everything about it.
Actually,
that man doesn't know shit about what he's talking about. You're right, I don't. I just know that it's processed.
Gotcha. So this was unprocessed.
It was unprocessed cheese.
Gotcha.
Which is why it tasted so good, because it was natural.
Yeah.
Because it was straight from the cow.
Yeah.
And at the same time, my stomach is so Americanized.
Yeah, we don't have the strength.
We're just not used to that. Like my body isn't used to a lot of natural stuff. Yeah. At the time, like I try to eat more natural now.
Of course.
But your body just it almost rejects it, because your body's like, yo, what is this? Give me my sugar and cholesterol and butter and flour and all of that stuff.
Gluten,
all that gluten and all those ingredients that you can't pronounce on the back of the product. So that's what my stomach was saying in so many words. It mumbled, rumbled, and bloop bloop.
Yeah.
And, it was like an hour.
It was an hour.
It was like a strong, and like to the point where like, people are waiting in line trying to get it, and it's like, yeah, y'all not getting in for a minute. It's like, it's like John Witherspoon and Friday, like,
35, 45 minutes.
35 minutes. Like, it was awful. And also, I guess I should also add that I was hovering because
it was so nasty.
It was like, yeah, it's like a public outhouse. And so I'm literally like sitting over it.
He's doing it.
And like the thigh muscles that were worked, you know, were unmatched that day.
Let me ask you this, Ronvé. So you had this terrible moment happen. This terrible, unforgettable moment happened. And now you walk out of the bathroom, there's a line of people there. Are you making eye contact? Are you brushing past them? Is Sally Ann in the nearby vicinity, like directing traffic for you? What's happening with the crowd?
I'm making brief eye contact with people, but it's almost like that, like that quick, like,
you know what's up, yeah.
Honestly, I was so caught up in myself at that moment. I was not paying attention to anyone else. Sally was laughing. I'm sure she was laughing. I'm sure there was a moment of, are you okay?
Yeah.
You know, but after, and then also it was probably some "I told you so."
Yeah. You shouldn't have touched that cheese. Yeah. I told you so, but with the eyes.
Right. Like, I told you not to eat that. You know.
Did it taint the rest of the trip? Was it towards the end? Was it towards the beginning?
This was sort of beginning. This is
sort of the beginning. Great.
So, so that was one. That's part one. That's part one of Cuba.
Got it.
Part two. This happened shortly after. This may have been like the next day.
Okay.
So that day, next day, we wanted to get cigars. I wanted to get cigars.
Yeah.
We had already I had the handmade ones, but I can only get like a handful of them. Like they're literally hand rolled, so they don't have that many. So that day we're out and about and
feeling lighter.
Feeling 10 pounds lighter. Yes. And so where we're staying in Havana. And it's like downtown Havana. We're like if the length of my hands is Havana, we're staying somewhere in the middle.
Gotcha.
And excuse me, we're right on the water. So we're walking along the water, but sort of looking around and kind of shopping, doing our tourist thing. We just so happened to run into a guy. I quote that because I think he was clocking us.
Gotcha. He had eyes.
We'll get to that.
Gotcha.
So we just so happened to run into someone. Apparently I look Cuban, which I didn't know, but he asked if I was Cuban. In the minute I opened my mouth, he was like, "Oh yeah, hell no, you're not from Cuba." Right? And so we get to talking. He makes conversation with us. Really nice, really pleasant guy.
Yeah.
Really nice guy. Like he's, at the time, like Trump was in office, and they're actually very political over there. Trump was in office, and he's just talking about how crazy Trump is, especially because, I didn't tell you this. When we got to Cuba, when we landed in Cuba, that was the very same day that Trump cut off sanctions and cut off travel to Cuba.
Oh, great.
So we landed in Havana. We're watching the news on the plane, on the TV. Yeah. Trump is literally making his announcement that he's cutting off travel to Cuba the minute we land. So we're with our friend, and he's talking about, Trump, crazy.
Yeah.
And somehow we get to talking, and I tell him that, I want some cigars. Like we tell him that we want cigars, and we tell him that, what are places we can go that's not like the touristy areas? Like
Yes.
we want to go where the locals go.
A very New York thing to ask in a
Yes.
different country. Very New York thing to ask.
We were very, very New York.
Very New York. Very New York.
And so he's like, yeah. So he makes a call. He calls a guy. He has a guy, and he says that he quotes us because it was like, I want to say it was like 30 cigars ish, and he quotes us like $50.
Okay.
Okay, cool, something like that.
Yeah.
And his guy can get them to us that evening. At this point, it's like middle of the afternoon, so we have to wait a few hours. So we're like, cool. We end up hanging out with this guy for the whole day. We're following him around, taking his lead, and we notice the further we go, we're seeing less and less Americans. Mm-hmm. Seeing we're going into the places where the locals go.
Yeah, you're going to Cuba.
We're going to Cuba.
Yeah.
So we're further away from sort of the touristy area. So we end up hitting up this bar. Small bar. You walk in and it literally looks like someone's house. It looks like someone's living room, but super tiny. So it's me, Sally, our friend, and then there's a couple who's already there having drinks.
Okay.
And so the five of us are there and we make small talk with them. Yeah. They're super pleasant. Next thing you know, we're laughing, we're having a ball.
Yeah.
And one by one, or one at a time rather, maybe like the woman of the couple gets up and she goes to the bathroom. And so the husband is still there. And so we're still talking. And then the husband gets up and he goes. Wife hasn't come back, but he gets up and he goes. And so, whatever. And at this point, it's getting a little late. And our friend tells us that his guy's going to come soon. So we're like, okay, cool. Well, let's settle up the tab. So the bartender gives us the tab, and it has our drinks and the couple's drinks and our friends' drinks. And we were like, well, there's a little bit of a mistake. We try to tell the bartender there's a little bit of a mistake. We just want to take care of ours. And the bartender was like, and he's speaking Spanish, so we have to sort of make out. But he was like basically saying, no, the couple said that you said that you would take care of it. They dipped. They left.
Oh my God.
And so the tab is like it ends up being like $90.
Okay.
But
still,
it's like the principle. But also, mind you, I only plan on spending $50.
Yeah.
For the cigars.
Now you're at $140.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're like, damn, all right, fine. We do it. So now it's time we meet up with our friend's guy for the cigars.
Okay.
He may as well be Big Worm from Friday.
Ooh.
Like, he
kind of like heavy set, kind of.
Yeah. Doesn't look like a friendly type.
But but his hair is dead.
Yeah, but his hair's dead. You got the Rams, keep him clean. And so he
so many Friday references.
That's my play.
Them says that I keep him clean.
Keep it clean. So he brings the cigars, and he brings like 30, 35 of them or whatever. And I give him the money, and there's a look of disappointment on both of their faces. And I'm like, is there a problem? Is there an issue? And our friend tells us that he's like, hey man, I told you it was 130 for the cigars. And I was like, excuse me? 130 what? He's, $130 for the cigars. Mm-mm. And I was like, no. And at this point, like, I'm like apologizing, like, listen, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like, there's a miscommunication, like, I don't know where signals got crossed, but
yeah,
I got 50.
yeah,
And mind you, we're not in the touristy area anymore.
no,
I don't know where we are. I
yeah,
have no clue where we are. And I'm short money. I'm short with this guy's money, apparently.
yeah,
So I was like, hey, I apologize. I have fifth, or no. I was like, I'll give you what's left in my wallet. Like, and I think I had maybe like 70. I give him 70. And
70 on top of the 50 or 70
no.
in total?
70 in total. Because remember, I already spent the 90
yes
on the drinks. So I give him 70 total. And he's very upset. And he ends up giving me the cigars, but they leave Sally and I there. And our friend, like, they go. So Sally and I are stuck. We have no idea where we are, nor how to get back.
Gotcha.
I don't know why I did this at the time, but it was just something that I did. I had an extra $40 in my shoe.
Okay.
Because at the time, I would just, I don't know why, but I had two, and it wasn't American money. It was the whatever the Cuban money.
The currency there, yeah.
Yeah, the currency. But I had $40 worth in my shoe.
Okay.
That for just in case. Like,
you have to, yeah. You split it up, of course. You're traveling, yeah.
I think what, I know what it is. Like, I have this like irrational fear of getting robbed. And
you kind of did.
In this scenario, I don't want to be asked out.
Of course.
So I'm pretty sure that's probably why I did it.
Yeah.
But luckily, I had the 40, and we ended up catching a taxi.
Okay.
And luckily, it's only like a 10-minute drive back. But called the taxi, and we got home. And in retrospect, Sally and I talk about that, and we were like, not our final hour, not our, better decisions could have been made.
Right.
It was just crazy though how it just happened that way. Like, we were just, one minute we're over here, next minute we make our way over here. Oh, we're laughing and drinking. Wait, what the fuck? That's like that quick. And there's not many times that I felt like I was that I feared for my life.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I have a lot of movie references. In that moment, I felt like Ethan Hawke in that in Training Day when Denzel left him in the projects,
right,
to fend for himself. Like, that's what it felt like. And like, you have all these wolves around you, like, because also we're American.
Yeah,
we look American. We have a little bit more money than folks, and by a little bit, a lot of it.
Yeah.
And so we
people are hungry.
We look like food.
Yeah.
And so I definitely adopted my hood face, my gangster grill. But yeah, man, I was shook.
Yeah, of course.
We were shook.
Especially because there's probably that element too of feeling like you need to be the protector. You're the protector, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the cigars were your quest. Yeah. And now you're in this scenario. Also, I was gonna say, when you were like, I got 70, and he's like, well, that's not enough. Make it enough. Well, make it enough if we're gonna keep on the Friday references.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is really scary. A lot of lessons to be learned there. Especially the thing that's most disappointing to me, but not surprising at all, is the couple. the couple having drinks. People
Yeah.
are you go outside your doors and you can't trust strangers. You
Right.
want to, because it's in our human nature, to at our core, we want to be like, I think of it like Game of Thrones. You watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
If you take out all the violence, all the murder, all the fighting for land, when they're making their way through these little villages, they're stopping in restaurants, the original restaurants, and they're having a meal with strangers, and you're talking and you're sharing tales. And I think innately that's what human beings want to do, right? We want to, what's your experience? What's your experience? Blah, 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 and learn some little nuggets. Even from that story, I learned so much from you about Cuba and things. If I ever go, I'm packing toilet paper. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you take little nuggets,
Yeah.
because somebody else already did the journey. And it's such a bummer that that couple rolled you like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we got.
Yeah.
And it was just like, damn, like.
It also makes me wonder, did the couple, is it something they do all the time? Are they in on it with the cigar guy?
I imagine they had, like, cause that was the thing. Like when I think about it, and that's why I said our friend.
Yeah.
Our friend,
Yeah.
'cause I feel like he was clocking us. And I feel like it was this is something that they always do. This is something that they do on a regular, because it was too seamless. It was too, and I don't know if they got like code movements,
Of
like,
course.
you know, when I wink, you know, what, I don't know what it was, but it was very seamless. It was very smooth on their part. You know, we didn't know that, we didn't catch it. We didn't catch it. And yeah, I think it was. I do think that, so it's funny because on one hand, I felt very safe.
Yeah.
In a lot of parts of Cuba, for the reason I said before, like we're tourists, and so they really don't mess with us like that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you can't get swindled.
Absolutely not.
And that you can't get hustled. They may take your money. They're not gonna take your life, but they'll definitely take your money.
Yeah.
And especially, it's called CUC. I think it's CUC, which is the Cuban peso. Just, you know, obviously the dollar is just, you know, worth so much more. So even that $90 tab that we had to cover for them, you know, that was probably what, like 150, 200 for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was a lot of money for them. The 90 didn't hurt me, but it was more like, damn, that's fucked up. But you know,
Yeah.
I don't want to pay it, but I can
do it. Thank God I can do it.
Thank God. Yeah. So yeah, but that was one of those, that was just one of those moments. Like when I was thinking about, you know, just a wild night, like that was, it was a wild night, and like it was fun, but that was like the one time that, you know, I did feel a little bit unsafe in this environment that was supposed to be more safe.
Yeah. Wow. Would you go back to Cuba?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
So you do recommend it?
I do recommend it. The food, going back to the food thing, food was okay.
Gotcha.
Food was
That's
okay.
honest. That's honest.
Yeah, food was all right. The produce was like, at least where we ate. And my boy Jay Kyle went after us, and he was raving about the food.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know where you went, but
I didn't go there.
Yeah, I didn't go there. We didn't go there. Like it was fine, but really, we were into the daiquiris. We were into, obviously, the cigars.
Yeah.
And just the culture of
environment.
Because, but I will say, for Cuba, the interesting thing was that while it is a poor country,
yeah,
but nobody's homeless.
Yeah.
There are no homeless people.
Wow.
There are no homeless people. And for me, it was just, it was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You know, and then you also just see people happy in a way that we're like we're happy and sort of we're happy here in this sort of artificial, we're happy with our stuff and our shiny things, and
Yeah.
but there it's that, it's like those stories you hear about people when they say, you know, I was happier when I was poor, and when I got money, that's when the problems came. It's that kind of genuine happiness that they just love life.
They love
You know,
life. Yeah.
they just love life, man.
Celebrating. Yeah.
And it's infectious, man. Like, and that's why, and that's how we were so easily swindled, because we were so caught up in that. Like,
Yeah.
you talk to this dude, and you love life. You talk to
Yeah.
this couple, and you just, it's a feeling that I haven't, you don't get too often,
Interesting.
just off of the strength of communicating and interacting with people. It's very seldom you get that, especially these days. And so
Wow. Yeah.
that was, I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. I love the sense of community. Yeah, man. They definitely have their own swag. They got their own style. We're like, and because of it, Sally and I stood out because of the way we dressed. You could just tell by the way we were dressed that
Yeah.
we're not from there. You go to Cuba and it looks like Washington Heights. Honestly,
Okay.
like, it's a lot of colors, a lot of loud, flamboyant colors. It's a lot of dope hairstyles. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just very,
Nobody's turning it down. Everybody's turning it all the way
nobody,
up.
no. Turn down for what? You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like for real. Like, and that, I love that. I love that. It's a dope spot to go to.
Okay.
It's dope.
Well, that was very, very wild, Ronvé. And I don't know, I was right there with you. I've been in situations in other countries before where you're just a little too, luckily not to that extent where I was alone, where it was like, how do we get out of here? But I have been in situations where you get caught up in the moment and you're like, this is what life is about. We're doing it. And then you're brought down to reality really quick because you can just tell, and maybe this is human nature, or maybe it's just being a New Yorker and having to walk out your door and be on your P's and Q's immediately.
Right.
Immediately from the second you step out your door. Doesn't matter what neighborhood. New York is the Wild West.
You know what I was gonna say, that's a great point, because when I'm here, my guard is always up. And you know,
you got the little guy too.
Yeah, especially now. Yeah, you know, having a son, like you just got, having a kid, you have to.
Yeah.
And I think being there, it was good to let the guard down for a minute, and I think that you can get intoxicated with that. The freedom, and just the stress-free nature of that. Like, man, like, it's good to like walk outside and not have to like have that mentality. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's a great point.
Now, Ronvé, I need you to catch me up a little bit on what's going on with you. Usually, back in the day, I was in the know. We were always keeping each other what was going on. But you need to let me know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I think the last time.
And really brag. Don't be humble, because you know what? Sometimes Ronvé is a humble guy. I need you to really like take your moment to give yourself your flowers. You know.
Oh, thank you. I'll try to give myself some flowers. Let me see. Right now, so I write musicals. I'm still working. I got my day job. I work at the hotel, and I'm doing that. But then right now, I do feel like I'm working two legit jobs now, because my writing and composing work has really
taken off.
Really taken off.
Yeah.
Really sort of accelerated. In a great way. So
good.
Right now I'm working on a piece that it's called, well, it's tentatively titled 6888 the musical, which is about the women of the 6888 battalion. It was a battalion of 850 plus Black women served in the postal unit in World War II.
Got it.
And consequently are the reason why women are able to serve in the Army today.
Wow.
So they actually, on June 15th of this year, they received the Congressional Gold Medal. And we were honored enough, we were privileged enough to be able to write a song and present a song at that ceremony.
Wow.
And fun fact, Blair Underwood is executive producer of this show. So we were able to roll up with Mr. Blair Underwood himself.
Wow.
What's crazy too, real quick now.
No, go into it.
But it was such a dope trip. I didn't realize like how VIP we were.
Right.
So we were, so it was me, the book writer of the show. Her name is Morgan Smart, super talented. And then my partner in crime, Javaris. We were taking our Uber, and when you're riding up, so we're going to the Arlington Cemetery, in the Women's Memorial.
Yeah.
And riding up there, you can only ride up so much. There's only certain access points you can get to.
The rest is on foot.
The rest is on foot. There's security checkpoints that you have to go through. And so when we're riding up to the checkpoint, our Uber driver is like, he's like, hey, I don't know about this. You guys are gonna have to get out soon. We can't get, we can't, I've never been able to get past here. We're not gonna be able to do it. And we're in the backseat telling them, hey, our name is on the list. Don't worry about it. He's like, no, I'm telling you, you won't be able to do it. You can't do it. It was like, hey, relax, my guy.
Yeah.
We're on the list. And so he's like, okay. And so we go to the first checkpoint and we give them our names and they let us go through the first checkpoint. And he looks back at us like, who are you? so we drive up and there's one more checkpoint that we have to hit. And he's like, and it's one of those things. Is like, okay, that was a fluke. That was
luck. Yeah,
you know, that was luck. You'll never get past this checkpoint.
Yeah.
So we get to the second checkpoint, and we get past. And he's like, oh my god, who are you? And you would have thought that we were Joe Biden himself.
Yeah.
Just getting through, and we made that guy's day. But we had that much access.
Yeah.
To get in, and so we got in. And you know, the whole ceremony happens, and we're rolling with Blair, who the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Like he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Like,
wow.
And then the most charismatic.
Of course.
So like we meet his family because he brought his dad. His dad served. His dad is a veteran.
Wow, yeah.
So he actually brought his dad with him, along with his brother, and Blair made a speech, and he made a speech, and then he also introduced us, and then we would present our song. This man Blair gets on stage, and like he has his written speech, but like, I'm talking about just riffing, just like cracking jokes with like, just like seamless. It was a masterclass.
Yeah.
On just how to work an audience.
Yeah.
You know, made us look like $1 million, made us look good.
You guys were buzzing.
Yeah, we were buzzing off the strength of this, man. And so we present our song. And so then afterwards, it's sort of a reception kind of situation. And at one point, we have to move from one end of the room to the other. And I would say like the length of this room was maybe like a football field. Like it was a very long way for us to get from here to there. We had to get over there. We're with Blair, mobs of people, you know, people wanting autographs, want to take pictures, whatever. And when I tell you, like, you know how people describe people as like, you know, when they talk to you, you feel like you're the only person in the room.
Yeah.
Blair Underwood is that way.
Wow. With
every single person in the room.
Wow.
Hundreds of people. He has this way of making every last one of those people feel like
$1 million.
like it was amazing. It was amazing to see. Like
Wow.
you just, he's like walking through, and we're moseying our way to the end, and he's like, there's like this little like 12-year-old who wants a picture. He's like, yeah, I'll take the picture. You want me to take the picture? Yeah, I got you. And they take a selfie, and it's just like, at one point Morgan asked him, he was like, she was like, isn't this exhausting? Like, how do you do this? And he's like, I just love people. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, they're hiring at our hotel if you want to.
We really need a concierge.
But like, he's dope, man. And like it was really cool to meet somebody that you sort of grew up watching on TV.
Yeah.
Be the genuine person that you think they are in your mind. Wow. And it's also cool to call him a teammate.
Yeah.
We're collaborators.
Yeah.
In this way. So that's the project that I'm excited about. And I'm also developing in addition to that, I'm developing a TV show, a children's show with I want to say the network, but like
you don't have to.
Yeah, they haven't put anything else. So
yeah, you don't have to. That's okay. That's okay.
It's a very major.
We'll say big. Say big.
Big.
Yeah.
It's a very big corporation or company. But me and another collaborator of ours, we pitched the show. They loved it, and so we're in development now. We're sort of at the place where we're putting together the storyline. We're going to present it we presented it as a series. They picked it up as a special, as a half-hour special.
Oh, fun! Is it a cartoon?
It's a cartoon. Yes.
Oh, so fun.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the two biggest things, and I'm just, I'm always writing and always working, man.
Well, Ronvé, those are two huge things. So congratulations. It just makes my heart and my cheeks are like hurting from smiling just to hear that you have so much great. I mean, you're always surrounded by greatness, but to just hear it keep getting elevated just makes me so proud as your friend. I love seeing it. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and I want to thank you because you've always been supportive, and and it's been genuine. Like I remember you being at my video shoot for Classy.
Oh my God! Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and that, like, for me, like that's real. Like that's
yes, of course.
You were day one.
Yes.
And,
I love that song. I love all your songs. I put on motivation music once at a party I was at. And my friend was like, this song is really good, but this is a party. You're playing motivation music. I was like, we got to bump Ronvé. There's more on the playlist. There's more on the playlist. She's like, what are you getting pumped up for right now? I said, I'm pumping everybody up. We're all listening to Ronvé. We're all listening to Ronvé. Man. Oh my God, it's so good. I love your music. Yeah.
No, and I love you, man. Like
I love you so much. Yeah.
You're my people.
You're my people, Ronvé. Now tell the people where they can follow you and see what's next.
Yeah. Instagram, IG, baby, at
IG.
Ronvé O'Daniel.
Ronvé, this has been the best. The best. You gave me story after story. They were all wild, and I learned something about Cuba. I got to catch up with you, and I hope I get to catch up with you in person soon.
Yes.
We should make something happen.
Yes, absolutely. I would love that.
I would love that. And we should make something happen with the whole Heartland crew, because I mean, if that's not the best cast of characters to ever work at a restaurant in New York City, I'm telling you.
I want to write about it. So like, I'm trying to think of like what angle to do it, but
I know
I'm going to write about it. Like it has to happen. It has to happen.
I always think like working, because I eventually got transferred to where you were at Empire, and I just thought like, man, obviously, it's not the most fun to work in a restaurant. Sometimes you deal with a lot of the scum of the earth. People talk to you. You got to do a lot of hard stuff. You have to put up with a lot of stuff. But if the people at that restaurant and the money, but the people,
I still miss that money, honestly.
I mean, where could you go into work, roll in at 10:30, work with the funniest people in New York City, leave at 4:30, 4 shots deep with $300 in your pocket cash?
also work 3 days out of the week and make your rent and then some.
Yeah, it's a travesty that's not, but you know, we have to have that so we can move on to the bigger and better things, which is what is happening now. So Ronvé, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing the show. It was so great catching up with you, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All right.